to the show.
Two men have entered this ring, but only one will leave as champion. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, live on the Zone from the Moody Center in Austin, Texas, home of the Longhorns. Fight fans! Are you ready? It's fight time! 4 3-minute rounds of action!
Welcome, GOAT fans, to GOAT Radio. I'm the big man, and we are so jacked up. We are kicking off season 2 of the greatest of all time podcast show, and there's no better man than to start it off than the ultimate hype man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so pumped to bring to you world-class professional ring announcer Ryan Ventura.
Thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to this. Sorry, my webcam. I'm really looking forward to this. I like the content that you guys make, and you're a man of good taste as well. I love the jerseys that you have in the background.
Yeah, awesome. I know. I feel like I'm excited to have you because I feel like we have the same interests. I can just tell by your little man cave you got there with all the pictures. Same sort of thing here with the Goat Raj.
Yeah. I love it. I need to come in person and check it out myself.
Oh, we will plan on it for sure. All right, buddy. First things first, the GOAT fans know the drill. We got to say what we're wearing. So I'll start.
Sure.
In honor of the NHL season coming up next week.
Right on.
I haven't worn my Ovechkin jersey in a while.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah.
And
excellent.
And you know what? He's on the hunt for Gretzky's record.
Yeah.
Probably he needs, I think, 73 goals.
Yeah.
Maybe he can get it next season, not this one, but that guy just won't stop scoring.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I honestly think, even at his age and everything that he's accomplished, he genuinely just loves the game of hockey. He loves the score. He loves to perform. And for as long as his body will allow him to, he'll continue to play. Like, I talk about it all the time because Ovi is one of my favorite non-Canuck players of all time.
Yeah.
I think he's like the kind of guy that would like do what Yager does. So like, even after his NHL career is long done, he's going to like continue to play in the KHL for as long as his body will allow.
Why not, man?
Yeah.
Yager's 51. He's still kicking on the ice. All right. What are you wearing?
Okay. So, you could tell I'm wearing, a nice throwback to 1994 jersey, but do you care to guess what number and name I have in the back? It's not very common, but he's a legend.
Okay. I think I see a 9 there, but I'm not sure. Is it Mo Gilney? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's Mogilny. This is like one of the greatest like jerseys that I've ever owned, and this is like the authentic CCM one. So it's not like a replica, or it's not a Fanatics or even an Adidas one. This is an actual CCM jersey from '95.
Unreal. I love Mo Gilney. We actually have an autographed blade here
awesome.
in the garage, and that guy is just getting shafted by the Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah, I fully agree. He's slept on. Is Fedorov in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Pretty
we're just missing him because like it was him, Pavel, and Sergey, right? They were like the next like big Russian 3 after the original one, right?
The defectors from the USSR.
Yeah.
All right, brother. I'm pumped to talk about your greatness, man. What you do, it's, to me and many others, it's just fascinating.
Thank you.
So I really want to know how you got into ring announcing. I know growing up, you had to battle some adversities. You worked a lot of jobs. Are you able to share that for us? And
yeah, absolutely.
How that led to you to be the hype man?
For sure. So, growing up, I grew up in a pretty rough childhood. A single mother raised me and my younger brother. And, I didn't grow up with much at all. So, I had to like become the man of my house at a very young age. My mom actually almost passed away when I was only 18 years old. She got into a really bad car accident, and that essentially like forced me to step up to the plate to take on the role as, like father figure and man of the house. So at 18 years old, I had to, drop like, my ambitions in school at the time. Like I wanted to become like a web designer. I mean, like looking at it now, it's like, web design, there's not much money in it. But back in those days, it's like, that was a very sexy, like seeming job, right? To do online marketing. And I ended up working in online marketing eventually. But, I had to drop those ambitions that I had, and I just had to take whatever job I could, man. Like I worked, retail at Foot Locker and Sport Check, and I worked at Esso gas station. I've done construction. I worked at like hotels and managed like parking centers. Like I was like only 18, 19 years old, like juggling 3 jobs like all at once and everything like that. And it even got so bad to the point where like, I actually got myself into some trouble with the law. And, nowadays, like I'm not afraid to admit that like, I got into some big trouble. So, when you're only like 17, 18 years old and you see like your friends or, friends people that you thought were your friends back in those days, like, making like $2,000 a week and things like that in 2005, you're like, oh shit, can I swear?
Yeah, for sure, brother.
Okay, so I was like, oh shit, like I see this guy like making like 2 Gs a week. I need to like figure out what he's doing. And I unfortunately got involved in some like illegal like ID scams. So like I got like fake passports and fake credit cards and fake IDs, and like I got caught, and like I actually almost faced a 1.5 years in prison.
Wow.
And that was a real wake-up call, because it showed me that, I'm not meant for, this kind of life. Like, maybe some other people are, and like, I'm not promoting that or anything like that. But for me, it was like a real wake-up call. I remember getting arrested and being held in a holding cell for an entire day. And when I got out of the holding cell, because, I pled guilty to everything, like, I got caught red-handed with all this stuff that I wasn't supposed to have. And the cop was like, you know what, Ryan, you're a good kid, and you mean well. Like, I know why you did this, but I never want to see you here again. Stay out of trouble. Don't ever like, come back here again. And I took that to heart. So like, from that day forward, like, I decided to like, keep myself clean, and like, realize that like that wasn't the kind of life for me. So like, how ring announcing, tunes into this was like, I needed like any kind of job that like, would pay like money legally and legit. So, I've been involved in the Vancouver nightlife scene. You've probably seen it. Like I've been involved in the nightlife scene since I was 18 years old, man, like promoting club events and concerts and things like that. And one of the things that I used to do too, at one time, I was an aspiring rapper, and I used to jump on the mic at the clubs, and I used to hype up the crowds and stuff. And, growing up, like I was like a massive fight fan, and I still am a big fight fan, martial arts fan. And one of the side jobs that I had on top of the other jobs that I had was I used to write articles for a website called lowkick.com. So lowkick.com at the time was owned by USA Today, and they used to cover like, all the UFC events and boxing events and things like that. And I got like a part-time job with them. And when the UFC came to Vancouver in 2011, shortly after the Vancouver Canucks Stanley Cup run, that was the main event was Shane Carwin versus Junior Dos Santos. And I actually got like limited credentials. So that means like I can't go like in front of the cage or anything, but like they gave me tickets to the event, and like I can interview fighters and things like that, and attend like other related things to the fights. So like before the actual card started, I went to something called the MMA Expo, and this is where you could like meet fighters and attend seminars and stuff like that. And I met this promoter. He was promoting this event called Quest for Glory. It was a local MMA show. It was being held at the Croatian Cultural Center on Commercial Drive. And I saw the promoter putting up flyers for it. And I went up to him. I introduced myself, and I said, hey, I'm a big fight fan. I'm a big martial arts fan. I've trained a little bit myself. I've always wanted to try this, like, not thinking where I'd be now, but I always wanted to try this. Can I, be your ring announcer for the day? And he's like, well, we already hired a guy. So, but you know what? I have some tickets. So he gave me 3 free tickets, right? So the week after the UFC card, I go to the Croatian Cultural Center. I go with my younger brother and my cousin, and I go to the event, and I pack with me a dress shirt. I don't know why, but something in me said to pack a dress shirt. So I go to the card, I sit ringside, and the promoter, he's treating me like really good. Not like a big VIP or anything like that, but he was glad to see me, and he was glad that I showed up and all that kind of stuff. And the guy that they hired, I mean, he has a good voice, but it's not like a ring announcer type voice. And he actually is a voice actor. He would do documentaries and things like that. And halfway into the card, Like, you know, no one's really like feeling the energy of this guy. The promoter comes up to me, says, "Hey man, do you want to try this? You'll get paid." And I said, "Oh, cool." Right. So, you know, I go to the back, I put on this dress shirt that I packed with me, and I learned on the job. Like, I didn't know any of the fighters on the card. I didn't know any of the camps. And at the time, pro MMA outside of the UFC. So the UFC actually got an exemption to hold professional MMA in Vancouver. So like every other promotion, like even Battlefield back in those days, every fight had to be amateur. So there was an amateur group called MMA BC. Like it was all like volunteers, right? That put on this event. So all the judges, the referees, the officials, everyone, like no one's getting paid to do this. They volunteered their time to do this, right? So like I had to introduce myself to all these people. I didn't even have any cue cards. I was given like a notepad and a pen. And as like the fighters were walking to the ring, I would go up to their cornerman and be like, "Hey, what camp are you from? Where's he from? How much did he weigh?" Right? I would ask for records and everything. And, you know, I don't know if he's like making it up or whatever. And then the worst part of all was if the fight went to a decision, I had to go up to every judge myself and do the math myself. And I'm like worse. I'm like the horrible at math. So I have to score everyone's like scorecard and everything like that. And at the end of the night, I'm like, you know, I had fun, but I don't know if I'm ever going to do this again. But the promoter said I did really good. He gave me a check, and the rest is history. I've been very fortunate to have experienced what I've experienced in my life, having been blessed to travel all across Canada, all across the US. And, you know, I've gotten to go to the UK twice this year through ring announcing. And, you know, all the great things that I've done in my career, like in the background, you know, I got pictures with Nate Diaz and Bruce Buffer and, you know, KSI and all those like people. And I still feel like the kid in 2011, you know, trying to like, you know, make my name out there.
Awesome story. Thanks for sharing, you know, the adversities growing up and you know, the quest for glory. In a way, it kind of opened a lot of doors.
It did.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't for Quest for Glory, and big shout to Sammy Piccolo, he's an OG in the fight scene here in Vancouver. If he didn't give, you know, the chubby Filipino kid who was only 24 years old a chance, I wouldn't be where I am today. Same thing with Master Song, he's one of the pioneers of Muay Thai in Canada. Those guys gave me a chance, and maybe a part of the chance that they gave me was because I was like the cheaper alternative, because, you know, I was a young kid and everything like that. But if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't have opened doors to the Battlefield, and it wouldn't have opened doors to Misfits Boxing in the Zone.
Yeah. Great for pouncing on those opportunities. And I've watched you live at BFL, you know, one of the big Canadian, for the GOAT fans, is one of the bigger Canadian promotions outside the UFC. And you bring a lot of energy, man. Do you love that rush of hyping up the crowd?
Oh man, like you know, you see me smiling and everything like that. To me, it's the greatest high and hit of dopamine that a man can get without doing any drugs. When I was in
Wow, good way to look at that. That's a great description right there. Yeah.
if any, not condoning that either, but if you've experienced it, it's a beautiful feeling in safe circumstances. But when I remember like very vividly being in London at the OVO Wembley Arena, there's over 13,000 people. This place is sold out for this Misfits boxing, influencer boxing card and everything like that. The place is packed. And, you know, you've been to Battlefield events, like it's packed, but like this is another level of packed, right? This is huge. Like we're surrounded and there's like celebrities and everything all around the ring. Michael Buffer's watching me, and like, you know, I remember just being in that ring, just looking around me and looking at the crowd. And I'm like, this is exactly where I belong, man. I had zero nerves. Like it was so good. Like I didn't want it to end. The worst part of all was when it ended, it went by so fast. Like it felt like it was only 2 minutes.
I was going to ask, Misfits Boxing, it's huge. It's
massive.
It's massive. You're announcing in front of thousands and actually millions of people that are watching at home. So I know you said there's no nerves, but with those numbers, do you feel tense at all?
No, man. Like I feel like you know, you're a big fight fan, so you know that famous like quote that BJ Penn had, where it's like birds fly and fish swim and BJ Penn fights. Like that's exactly how I feel. Like it just feels that natural, and I feel like for the rest of my life, for as long as I'm alive and as long as I'm allowed to do this, I'm gonna forever chase that high. That's
Amazing.
how good it is, man.
And I wonder about the misfits, because it's with those crossover fights with the YouTubers and the MMA guys and the boxers, and you got there's a lot of mixed emotions about it. And you got the old school boxers that are like, oh, it's tarnishing boxing, and then you got the new generation saying, it's growing the sport big time. Where do you stand on that?
Honestly, I'm a student of the game. I've been watching combat sports with my grandfather since 1989. So rest in peace, Lolo Rufino, for showing me boxing growing up. And I actually got to watch the very first UFC when I was only 7 years old. So a family friend of mine, he had a bootleg tape of the first UFC, because there used to be do you remember the black box where people used to bootleg the pay-per-views? So my family friend used to like record everything. So he recorded the OG UFCs, and he recorded all the big boxing fights and movies and things like that. Stuff that you shouldn't be doing back in those days. But if it wasn't for that,
and the pornos.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at. I didn't want to openly say it, but you said it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So he would record everything. He had like VHS tapes of all this stuff. And freak, for a lack of a better word, the freak show is a part of combat sports. If it wasn't for things like UFC 1, if it wasn't for things like Antonio Inoki versus Muhammad Ali, or if you want to go back way like past our time, Milo Savage versus Judo Jean LaBelle, they were doing like these mixed fights and all this like craziness for a long time, because since the beginning of time in ancient Rome, people love chaos. People love a freak show, right? So, and in many ways, I like the crossover stuff too, not just because of the freak show element and respect to like actual combat sports history. I like the fact that because I've had like kids like as young as 13 years old message me on IG or come up to me after an event. They're like, watching you announce and watching these Misfits cards, it makes me want to go to the gym and train. That's a positive, man. That's a really good thing. Like, even if it's like not the highest of high level, it's not like you're watching Canelo Alvarez fight. It's not like you're watching Terrence Crawford or anything like that, but it's pushing kids to take up boxing. It's pushing kids to take up MMA and do something positive with themselves. And, I'll tell you right now, maybe in 10, 15 years, the guy that like is the next UFC champion or the next WBO champion, it's not because they watched like the highest level guys. It's because they saw KSI.
Pretty sweet. Speaking of KSI, I love that clip of him introducing you.
Thank you.
That's a sweet one.
That's a flex. Yeah.
You mentioned you worked with Michael Buffer, the man. How is getting to know that guy? Is he a beauty or what?
He is a beauty. He is a beauty. He gets my cosign. He's a very even with like, it's not like I can like call him on the phone right now and be like, hey, Michael, how are you doing? But like my experience with him and getting to know him for that short time, he's an extremely humble guy, and he's a cultural icon that extends beyond combat sports. You can ask your grandma and ask her if she knows about Michael Buffer. She'll know who Michael Buffer is, right? And he is so cool, really gracious with his time. Actually, you know what? I was planning on saving like this for another like interview, but I'm gonna tell you and give you the insider scoop. So,
thanks, brother.
No problem. The day I wake up in the morning for the Misfits card, Misfits 007, headlined by KSI and Joe Fournier, I look at my emails as I normally do when I wake up in the morning. I get this email from Michael Buffer's agent, right? I look at this email and like it's a very complimentary email saying, we like Michael and our team have been like, following your career for the last few years now, and we really like what you do. But this is a formal cease and desist letter, like letting me know that I'm not allowed to legally say, are you ready? So the term "are you ready" is legally owned by Michael Buffer. And I didn't know that. And for the longest time, everyone knows Let's Get Ready to Rumble.
Yeah.
Like, we all know that he legally owns that, but I didn't know he owns Are You Ready?
which you say before you're kind of saying, right?
Yeah. So like I was like, oh I was panicking. Like it's like, oh shit, I need to like do my intro in a few hours. What do I do? And then like I thought about it, I'm like, wait a minute. Michael Buffer and his team know who I am.
Yeah.
I was
That is
like,
cool.
that is great. So like what I did for my intro is like, I'm still tweaking it a bit, but like during that Misfits card, I actually did like a pause. So like instead of saying, "Are you ready?" Like, I just did like a bit of a pause and then I do it's fight time, but it's a work in progress. So like I recently learned, so like you're a wrestling fan too, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
So like whenever like Triple H used to do the thing with DX when he said, "Are you ready?"
Yeah.
Like he had paid Michael Buffer for that.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
That's a cool little story that he made sure.
Yeah. I was so honored. And the first thing that I did when I saw Michael Buffer that night sitting ringside, I went up to him and I said, "Mr. Buffer, I am so sorry that I used those words."
What
And
do you say?
he's like, "You know what, Ryan? It's okay. Most people do not know that I own it, but I've been using that for the last 30 years and it's my legal copyright." And I said, "I respect that, sir, and I will never do it again." Because that's a lot of money too, man. That's a lot of money that I don't have to pay him for per use.
So you use It's Fight Time. Did you use that from day one, or did it evolve over your years?
It evolved over the years. Like I don't even remember like what I was using before. Like it just sort of like just naturally came about. But my main thing is actually the thing that I say before that. So it's the two men have entered this ring, but only one will leave as champion. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, live at Rogers Arena in Vancouver, BC, home of the Vancouver Canucks. So like that little bit, that's actually from you ever seen the movie Beyond Thunderdome?
I'm not sure.
So
It sounds familiar.
Beyond Thunderdome is the third movie in the Mad Max franchise.
Okay.
So like they would have like these people fight in Thunderdome to the death. So like the announcer there was like, two men enter, but only one leaves.
Yes.
So
yes.
like I kind of got inspiration from that, and hopefully no one sues me for that, but I think I'm good.
Awesome, brother. I love your enthusiasm. It's just what everyone loves you. I even talked to Bigfoot Machado. He's always in the garage, and he says you're such a genuine guy. And
thank you.
And it'd be awesome if all of us got in the goat rush together one day.
Yes, I would love that so much. Bigfoot, shout out to Bigfoot. I miss him very much. Like he was one of my coaches. He's one of my coaches and everything like that over at FKP. He's such a great person. I love him very much.
Wicked. I always wondered this because some people might think, before an event, you can eat whatever you want, or you don't have to conserve your energy. But I'm sure you have a pregame routine. Yeah. And you're pretty focused, right? How do you prepare for a live event?
So the first thing that I do, like on the day of, like throughout the week, so like within days before like an event, like we got BFL coming up and everything like that.
Yeah.
I would do like a soft read. So like basically like I would without my full voice, I would just basically read like introducing first in the red corner, wearing the black and white trunks, official weight 170 pounds. So like basically a very monotone read.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that over and over and over again, right? And then one of the things I like to do, I like to get a nice workout in, on the day of. And I also like do things too, like I stick to water. I try not to drink coffee because I don't want to like stain my teeth. So like my vice is like sugar-free energy drinks. Not any better, but like that's what I do to keep me going. I stay away from fried foods, dairy, sweets, anything that would bloat me up. So basically, if I was to eat throughout the day, I just eat enough to like make sure that I'm satiated and satisfied, but not to the point that I'm full. Like usually, like if I want to like crush a burger or some pizza or something, I'll do it after the fights, but not before. not before. Like, I don't want to upset my stomach either, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I knew there's a
Yeah.
lot more to it, man.
Yeah.
Where do you practice? In the shower, in the toilet, or
Everywhere. Like in the shower, in the toilet, in the mirror. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing really too crazy. I remember though when I was in London for Misfits '07, I was in the mirror because like I knew that, like, you know, with the amount of eyes watching me, I wanted to have like,
Mhm.
you know, the right facial expressions and everything like that, you know.
100%. What's next for you?
Well, the next thing for me is the Battlefield Fight League, and that is
Yeah.
in a few weeks. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping to, you know, get back with Misfits again. Like, the door isn't closed with me and Misfits in the zone. I want to give a big shout out to the Sauerland brothers and Mams Taylor from Misfits Boxing and Wasserman Boxing, and of course the great people of the zone for giving this Filipino Canadian boy a chance to be at the highest level. And you know, I'll forever be grateful for them. And the door isn't closed, but right now, like, you know, I was trying so hard to be a part of the Logan Paul Dylan Dennis card because like for that card, the entire world is talking about it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you got Conor McGregor talking about it. You got even Dana White, like, you know, talking about it as well. Like, I mean, that's not really his cup of tea, but like, you know, if you have the big boss from the UFC talking about it, and you have like the biggest superstar in the fight game and all these celebrities talking about it, it's a card to be a part of. But yeah, man, like right now it's just BFL, and I'm the main guy for the BFL for as long as they want to have me.
Mhm.
And if any promotions out there are looking for a guy, you know, my book is wide open, and I'll connect you with my manager, and you could talk to him.
100%. Yeah, we're pumped to see you again. You're a big part of BFL. Like they've grown, and I think a big reason is because your energy as well, hyping those fights up. It's a big deal.
Thank you very much. I mean, I distinctly remember when I first started ring announcing, like I was watching BFL even before I was like, you know, announcing and all that. Like, you know, day one, just watching on they used to have like replays of BFL on like Czech TV and global TV on like on the weekends at a random time. And like I used to watch it all the time, and I used to think to myself, man, it'd be so cool to be inside that cage and introduce all the local up and comers. And you know, I've been so fortunate to have been doing it since 2014.
Unreal. And like you
Right.
said, a couple weeks BFL, you got Dan Keich,
Yeah.
the legend.
The legend.
We're excited for him to put his belt on the line against another champion, that Silva guy that he
Yeah.
was Bellator and the PFL veteran.
Yeah.
So
I,
it should be a great main event.
man, a guy like Dan, like he's an absolute like legend, and I personally believe he's one of the best kept secrets in this country.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's well known for sure.
Mhm.
If there's a kid out there that wants to be a ring announcer, what are some advice you would give him?
The number one advice that I would give a kid that aspires to be a ring announcer, and it's not an easy road. Some guys have it better than me. I don't want to mention any names, right? But like I had to like take the hard road. I was changing in broom closets, and I've been rejected more times than I've been accepted. Like even now, like, you know, with the stuff going on with Misfits in the Zone, like I so badly wanted to be a part of that card, and any card for that matter, right? Because like, you know, I had a taste of that, and I want to like, you know, keep it going and everything. But you just have to accept the fact that this is not an overnight thing. That you know, this is something that you have to work towards for a long time. I've been at it for 12 years now. 12 years. And like I didn't even like get my first like out of town booking until like the 4th year, right? It took a long time for people to take me serious in what I'm doing. So like if I can extend like some advice to like anyone that aspires to do what I do, accept the fact that it's a long road, right? This is not an overnight thing. Work hard, stay consistent, get in touch with your local promoters in combat sports or professional wrestling. Ask them for an opportunity, and don't expect too much in return, right? Just
Beautiful.
because like it's one of those things where like, you know, you can look good, you can sound good and all that kind of stuff, but no one's gonna like give you the gig right away. Like I had, it's not easy, man. And then the number 2 bit of advice that I can give you, and every single big announcer has told me this, including Mr. Michael Buffer: don't try to be the next Bruce. Don't try to be the next Michael. Don't try to be the next Ryan Ventura. Be yourself. Come up with your own style. Especially like in our game, there's so many imitators. There's so many people trying to be like the next guy. Forget trying to be the next guy. Just come up with your own style, your own delivery. I mean, you can only like, say certain things like a certain way, like so many other times and try to be different. But really, like, just try, because like if you look at me, I am not the prototypical ring announcer. I have a crazy hairstyle. I yell. Right? It's completely outlandish and like and out there, but it works for me, and it's a reflection of who I am and how I live.
It works, brother. You do a
Thank
great
you.
job. The passion that you put out is it's unmatched, brother.
Yeah.
I want to say, how can the GOAT fans follow you? Do you have any links from your Instagram?
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
Yeah.
If you want to find me on Instagram, it's simple. It's just Ryan Ventura 604. If you want to follow me on X or Twitter, it's Ryan Ventura 778. I don't know. It used to be Ryan Ventura 604, but for some reason, like my account is like the old Ryan Ventura 604 account's actually blocked by the UFC. So I don't know why. I don't know what I did or said.
Yeah.
Right. I don't say anything bad about the promotions at all, but for some reason it's blocked. So when the BFL got signed to UFC Fight Pass, I had to change it to a different name.
Oh, word.
Yeah, just because like, you've seen like my clips on like Fight Pass, and they would share my work all the time. So like it made sense to change it.
Awesome. All right, brother. How about we move on to the fun part of the pod?
Sure.
GOAT rapid fire.
All right, let's go.
You're going to give me your answer.
All right.
You can expand if you want to, or you could say next question. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Let's GOAT. Elias Pettersson or Marcus Naslund?
Oh, fuck. Can I like give a long answer, or does that have to be a short one?
No, you can do whatever. Yeah, you can tell some rationale.
I'm gonna say PD, because PD is the future. If the Canucks want to go deep in the next few seasons, in the next few years, we need this guy to perform at his very best. And if they don't make the playoffs this year, obviously he's gonna probably move on. But like, I hope in my heart that he does really well and he becomes a Canuck for a long, long time, and he can help lead us to the promised land alongside Quinn Hughes and Thatcher Demko.
Awesome. Me too. Roberto Luongo, Ring of Honor or jersey retirement?
Jersey retirement. I mean, wait, hold on a sec. All respect to legendary Kirk McLean. He is one of the greatest Canuck goalies of all time, but everything that he has accomplished in his career, with all due respect to you, sir, it's not even close to what Roberto Luongo did. Roberto Luongo is an Olympic gold medalist. Roberto Luongo, led us to, back-to-back President's Trophies, right? Back-to-back President's Trophies. We were so close to winning it all in 2011. We're so close, and it still hurts. It still hurts my soul. But the team that Kirk McLean was on in 1994, they weren't even supposed to be there.
Yeah.
They weren't supposed to be at the dance, but like the Nucks at that time, when they were a real wagon, like he was the big reason why we made it so deep.
You led me to my next one. 94 or 2011 Canucks?
You know what? I'm going to say 2011. As much as 2011 hurts, and as much as I love the 1994 Vancouver Canucks, 2011 was like the greatest hockey that I've ever seen in my young life. From beginning to end, all 82 games, you couldn't miss one game, because you knew some shit was going to happen and something beautiful was going to occur. Tickets for every game at Rogers Arena, good luck trying to get it. And if you want to get a ticket, you're paying over double.
100%.
And what a run that was. And to this day, I think I've spent more money at a bar in my entire life than it was 2011. I spent way too much money that year.
Yeah. It was one of the greatest times for the city.
It was
in my lifetime. All right. Kobe or King James?
Kobe. Sorry, go on.
You want anything to say, or do you want me to move on?
No, just Kobe.
Okay. Travis Kelce or Gronkowski?
This might break your heart a bit, but I'm not really an NFL fan, so I don't know.
All good. Ronaldo, Portugal Ronaldo or Brazil Ronaldo?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna say Brazil Ronaldo, Shout the Bigfoot.
There you go. Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic?
Federer.
Ooh. All right. Okay. Wrestling.
Ooh.
Bret the Hitman Hart or Shawn Michaels the Heartbreak Kid?
I am so sorry to all my fellow Canadians, but Shawn Michaels was like my first like favorite wrestler growing up.
Honestly, same. Part of the new generation era, sweet chin music. I don't know, you can't beat that.
Dude, and then like at the time, like you had the first generation of DX. Like I love Bret Hart and I love the Hart Foundation, but I mean, you know, let's be honest, every kid in school was doing the chop, right?
Yeah. Okay, Filipino food wars here.
Oh,
Sisig or the lumpia?
lumpia. My mom makes amazing lumpia.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, your pre-event meal.
Ooh, okay. My pre-event meal would be 2 orders of a tuna roll, a bowl of miso soup, and a cup of green tea.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you're a big video game guy.
Yes.
I look at these 2 legendary games growing up: Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter?
Street Fighter.
Wicked.
That's Ryu. He's doing the Hadouken.
Yeah, awesome.
But Street Fighter,
awesome.
Street Fighter to this day, like probably after we have our conversation, I'm gonna have a little bit of a meal and play some Street Fighter 6.
That's sweet. All right, who would win, Jean-Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal?
Oh man, JCVD, no contest, man. He'd fuck up Seagal. Like,
are you really with the Aikido? You know, he breaks bones. That guy.
Oh man, like all JCV he has to back up and just hit him with the spin kick.
Yeah, probably. All right, a lot of news surrounding Tupac. Tupac or Biggie?
Oof.
I know you're aspiring rapper back in the day. Who did you listen to?
Well, on a technical level, like in terms of like hip hop, like Biggie, like I thought like, you know, he had like better flow and better rhymes, but I personally would say pick Tupac because I feel like I can relate to him in a sense where like Tupac was passion. Tupac was emotion. And like there's not too many people in the modern era of anything, let alone hip hop, that can express themselves with that much like passion. And I feel like when I'm in the cage or the ring myself, I go in there with like so much passion and love and like it's an art form to me to like, you know, spill your heart out when you're introducing a fighter. And I'm 100% sure whenever Pac rapped, he did the same thing.
Yeah. This is off the record here. Did P. Diddy have something to do with it?
No, I don't think he did.
Okay. Okay, I need your combat sports Mount Rushmore. So 4 guys. Or girls, whatever.
4 guys, okay. You know what? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do this like and pick like one guy from almost every combat sport. So I gotta give a big shout out to my main man Manny Pacquiao, right? And I gotta give one to Fedor Emelianenko.
Oh yeah.
Right? GSP. And you know what? I gotta pick one in kickboxing. That's Gokhan Saki. So like I like Gokhan Saki because if you're a big kickboxing fan, he was like this short, stocky guy, but like they called him the Turkish Tyson. So like the way you throw the combinations and everything like that. Like the guy fought like Alistair Overeem, and like, you know, Overeem is probably like 50 pounds heavier than him. And every time I've watched Gokhan Saki, and even when I competed in kickboxing myself, I really identified with that style.
Yeah, and the K1 fights are just insane.
Absolutely.
Or now they're called Glory, I think, right?
Yeah. I was very fortunate. I got to watch my first Glory card in Rotterdam in the summer. It was beautiful.
And then Rico is the champ for a long time.
Yeah, Rico Verhoeven. He's an amazing fighter.
Yeah. All right. We got here. You already told me it's Manny Pacquiao, but prime Manny Pacquiao or prime Lomachenko?
Ooh, that's tough. I don't know, like it's kind of hard to like compare because of the eras and everything like that. This might be like slightly blasphemous, but because like, you know, it's slightly newer, it might be Loma, right? That's like, you know, if we were to do the comparison, who would win in hockey, Gretzky or Gordie Howe? It's like obviously Gretzky because like, you know, he played in a different era. It's more modern, right?
Yeah.
So like
I
kind of use that same like way of thinking. Like who would win, Pavel Bure from '94 or prime Ovi, right? You know.
All right, I need some predictions out of you for UFC heavyweight supremacy here. We got John Jones, Stipe Miocic. Who are you taking?
Logically, I would say it would be John Jones, and then John Jones would become like, he would cement himself as the greatest of all time and probably retire at Madison Square Garden because he has nothing left to prove. But there's something in me that says like, don't ever sleep on Stipe, right? If you think about it, a big chunk of Stipe's fights, we slept on him. Like I remember when he fought Verdum in Brazil, and this is when Verdum was like, he beat Kane, right? Verdum beat Kane. Verdum beat Fedor. So like when they were matched up against Stipe, I was like, oh, this is another guy that like Verdum is going to add to his resume. But no, man, he did this in Brazil and he put him away. And he put away Alistair Overeem, a lot of guys. He put away Daniel Cormier, right? In Cormier's retirement fight.
For sure.
Right. So like, don't ever sleep on Stipe, but I think John Jones, like, he's not losing ever.
Yeah. Okay. Misfits Boxing, big card next week. KSI and Tommy Fury.
Okay, so like usually my policy is if I'm working the card, like I won't give a prediction, but I'll give a prediction for this one. You know what? It's kind of crazy, but like, I actually think KSI might be able to do it. Wow. Like when I was ringside for KSI and Joe Fournier, like I mean, Joe Fournier is not like a world-class boxer, neither is KSI, but like, as good as Tommy Fury is at the level that he is at, and he is a Fury after all. There's just something about like that aura that KSI has, and like, he has all these like fans behind him. It's and he's very focused too. Like KSI is like really focused, and he treats this whole thing like he's an actual professional. So I think he's gonna surprise a lot of people. He's gonna surprise a lot of people, and it's hard to train for that London shoot fighters kind of style. Like it's so funny, man. Like KSI, he fights like MVP, but he's not allowed to kick.
Yeah.
So like he basically like fights like if MVP was a boxer.
Logan Paul or Dylan Dennis?
Oh, I think Logan Paul's gonna put away Dylan Dennis.
Okay.
It's not because like I think Dylan is not like a talented fighter. Like, I mean, we haven't seen Dylan fight a fight in like a long time, and Dylan, he's like, props to him, man. Like that guy is talk like the craziest game of all time. Like, there's going to be a special place in hell for him one day, like after all the things that he said. But I mean, like, he like Logan is bigger, and like I don't know if Dylan is like really taking like this match seriously. It's more of a clout thing. You know what I mean? It's more of a clout thing.
The GOAT ring announcer.
My favorite of all time. You know what? Believe it or not, my favorite of all time is the complete opposite of me. Obviously, I have nothing but admiration for the Buffer brothers. But my favorite announcer is actually Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Nice.
Like
great voice.
The complete opposite of my style, but like I've always admired it because I grew up watching the Rocky movies, and his dad, Jimmy Lennon Sr., was like the announcer for the Rocky movies. So like, he would be like, in this corner, weighing 205 pounds from Vancouver, BC. Like the way that he would talk. I really like that. And Jimmy, he does the same sort of thing. And he like keeps it like he keeps true to his dad's style, and he does it for modern times. Like I don't think like anyone could, like, if I was to like come out one day and try to do it, like no one would like it. Right. But when he does it, it's perfect.
Yeah. We got a chance to watch Fury and Wilder. He was there.
Yeah. Wait, were you there? Were you there for that fight?
In Vegas.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Man. That was the first fight, right?
No. I went to the second where Wilder said his when he walked down in that heavy vest.
Yeah, that was good. That was a great outfit though. That's a cool costume.
You know who's an underrated announcer?
Who?
Howard Finkel, old school WWF.
The Fink.
The golden era. That guy introduced the legends, the gods of wrestling. He was amazing.
Oh man, like he was the best. Like from Victoria, Texas, weighing in at 220 pounds, he is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like he would do it like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm a student of the game, so like even though like my impression is not on point, I try it so like I can have an idea of how they would do it.
Yeah. You're great. Hardest name you had to pronounce?
Dude, like any of the like Middle Eastern names or like Russian names are so hard. Like I don't even have like any of them like from the top of my head, because like I have like a sort of cheat code that I have on my cards. So like if a name is so hard to pronounce, I would write it phonetically. So if someone's name is like Mogedem, right?
Yeah.
Like I would spell it like Mo, M-O dash G-E-D dash E-M. Like, you know, I basically like spell it out so that like I'm not trying to like pronounce this really long name because it's very daunting. But like usually obviously the Russian guys and the Middle Eastern guys, some of them have really crazy names, man.
100%. All right, last one, man. Your ultimate goal and everything.
Oh man, I mean, I don't believe in an end goal, but an ultimate goal is for me to be able to do what I do full time. You know, there's like literally like I know so many world-class announcers that are just like me, that like, you know, work like a regular job, work a 9 to 5, and then like on the weekends they get flown out somewhere and they do some crazy card in front of thousands, and then it's back on the SkyTrain and all that kind of stuff, right?
But so in a way that's pretty sweet, you know?
It is. It's actually really humbling, and like occasionally, like I'm not gonna say like all the time, but occasionally it's a little bit demoralizing, because like sometimes you'll have some asshole that like, you know, I'll be riding the train, some guy like comes up to me, he's like, "Hey man, I saw you on DAZN the other day." I'm like, "Oh, cool, man." He's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, I work. You know, I work a regular job. Like sometimes it's kind of annoying. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's very humbling, because that's literally what happened. Like right after I came home from London and I got off the train, like, you know, I took a few days off and, you know, hung out with my mom and stuff like that. And then it was back to the office, man, riding the SkyTrain.
Back to the grind.
Back to the grind.
Awesome, brother. All right, man. I'm going to finish off. I drink for your greatness, man.
Thank you so much.
That's what I usually do.
What's that? Is that rum?
All right. I just picked this up. It's the Don Papa.
Nice.
And this is a product of the Philippines, man. This is very popular in the Philippines.
Yeah.
I got to read this, man. This rum is aged for up to 7 years in the foothills of Mount Canlaon before being blended to perfection with a rich, smooth taste and notes of vanilla and candied fruits. Don Papa is perfect straight on the rocks or in your favorite cocktail. Philippine product.
That's beautiful. You know what? Did you get that specifically because you knew I was going to be on the show?
I saw it. I'm like, it's fitting, man.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it, man. You enjoy that. Like, you know, I'll bring a bottle sometime when I come out to your man cave.
100%, brother. All right, man. You're great at what you do.
Thank you very much.
You bring so much passion into your calls. You're the ultimate hype man.
Thank you.
You know what? You come from real, you know, humble beginnings. So this one's for you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm honored. Thank you for having me on the show. This was one of my favorite conversations.
100%, man. And like I said, you got to come to the Goat Rush and be surrounded by history and the goats, just like your room. Your room looks pretty wicked too.
Thank you, man. I got a lot of history here too. Like, you know, just, you know, lots of Canuck stuff. Wicked. Lots of like memories from nightlife, and, you know, obviously like pictures from my career. It's really cool.
Awesome, brother. And all the best. And we're gonna see you at BFL in a couple weeks. All right, brother?
I love that. I love that very much. I'll buy you a drink.
Awesome. This is the greatest of all time podcast show, Goat Radio. We will see you next time for more Goat history. We'll see you later. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
In the garage, counting some dough with the big man and he hosting the show. We going global, so fast, never slow. Who is the goat of our ghosts?
Radio, that's the raw time, that's the ratio. Dino Tuna, welcome to the show. Yeah, gotta let them know. G-O-A-T-Y, G-O-A-T-Y, G-O-A-T-Y. Radio, that's the raw time, that's the ratio. Dino Tuna, welcome to the show. Yeah, gotta let them know. G-O-A-T-Y, G-O-A-T-Y.